What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. You know those clickbait articles that go, you could have a ton of money if you have this Yu-Gi-Oh card hidden away in your closet, and then it's a 1 of 4 Worlds prize card, or Tyler the Great Warrior, and we still know Tyler has that 1 of 1. Yeah, those articles are jokes, but what I love to do as market man is find unexpected value on the market that I had no clue about, and somebody on stream last night brought up the Monarch structure deck. I did not know. This was a $90 structure deck, low of 90 over on eBay. You have 1-0 feedback seller here at 60 before it's 90 on TCG Player as well. And I don't expect a lot of you guys to have this sealed, hidden, and tucked away. What I do expect a ton of people to have, though, as this was one of the most ripped open structure decks of all time, perhaps, is Ideas at $5. Returns, I had no clue this was a minimum of a $3 common. And then the low listings from Megatins on the Ultra Rares at $6. You also have the originals at $6+. I did not know these were this kind of money. I did know Pantheism was up in price after it peeled off of the ban list, and I didn't know that Ideos was near $2 either. A lot of value has gone up over time. This is a fan favorite from Memorable, being budget and time, and of course, once being budget, it ends up going up over time. But that's some value you might not have known you had during the day, and of course, if you're actually researching, looking up the cards that you have like you should be, you would already know, but I have a ton of these, and I personally didn't know they were at this price myself. Let's go ahead and get into Dawn of Majesty, and unexpectedly, I've got to give kudos to Konami. I didn't think this would be Starlight, and I wanted it to be Starlight. You have Dawn of Majesty's cover card, Synchro, Boss Monster, and Starlight Rare. I am pretty darn happy with this because with Lightning Underdrive, Rudy Rose, Raggy, that one skipped being Starlight, and it was heavily disappointing and anticipated that it wasn't Starlight, but I think they didn't want to double dip with Black Rose being that. But after maybe listening to some feedback, we do see this Boss Monster end up in Starlight alongside Stardust Dragon. I don't think that it's going to be insanely mind-blowing $400, $500, but I do think $225 to $175, not just a flatline failed Starlight price, will end up being tacked to this, as a lot of people are actually interested. Also, I wanted this one to be it. Sword Soul, waifu bait, hand trap gets to be a Starlight, and with this card, I think that Sword Souls look forward to her. Also, you have the Dogmatica players who will use Fleur-de-Lis and try to double down. I don't think the effect is the greatest in the world, but I do think it has some niche uses, and people really were excited about this. Maybe they need to be bonked, but this is one I wanted to see be Starlight Rare. Now, out of left field, they've doubled down on waifus, and we see a Protecting Spirit Logath end up being Starlight Rare. I've heard some people theory, oh yeah, this will work with agents. I don't know about that one. It seems cute with agents, maybe a tech option, but I think more so this is just waifu bait. We're still waiting on the 5th one. I'm holding my breath a little bit, hoping that it's Ready Fusion or something like that, but who knows with Konami what the 5th Starlight will be. Now, how is this set shaping up in the terms of prices? We saw pre-sales over on Card Brawlers with really good estimated pricing, and they've sold out first of Aluber. So Aluber actually had the most traction as a card out of Dawn of Majesty, and then we had Ready Fusion follow suit, along with Stardust Synchron, but their prices on Stardust Synchron were way cheaper than everywhere. And then Synchro Overtake, which was very cheap considering it is a top the set over on TCG Player now. Synchro Overtake has passed Ready Fusion, has passed Aluber, and this is still early sales. We don't know versus TCG Player how things will truly take out. We can only see early demand, but Synchro Overtake being atop the set, it makes some sense to me. You're still going to be waiting for certain releases like Burst of Destiny in order for Despias to improve, the insect monsters to improve, that demand for Sword Soul, those kind of things. We will wait for Burst of Destiny. It's sooner than later. It's going to be released in October, so we're not waiting too long for this core set. But what we're waiting a really long time for is Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm and Baroness, which I'm going to be looking forward to in improvised Sword Soul combos and people trying to make it by with their Synchro combos without her versus what's out in the OCG and people are practicing. This isn't out until January, which is a long time away for Synchro stuff to improve. So maybe people looking ultra ahead with it atop the set now. I still think Ready Fusion has the most potential. Just think in the OCG, you activate this, Max C gets thrown on you for something that's a 1-for-1, not necessarily a +1, and that's gonna hurt a lot, right? We don't have that here, so I do look forward to the decks and combos and things that are crafted with Ready Fusion, but I also don't think it's just going to be in every deck taking over staple. But in metagames, you saw Instant Fusion end up in metagame after metagame after metagame, which is where it ended up limited. I look forward to Ready Fusion. Now, the Despia I don't want to oversell, and I've said that with Player Brain. What I mean by that is I like the mechanic of this a lot. I think it improves in burst ahead of time, but I also do think it's on the tail end of Tier 2. Tier 2 is not an insult, by the way. Tier 2 can steal an event like Prank Kids did back in the day, and now Prank Kids have really impressed themselves in the metagame. But with that, I think it's towards the least consistent side. People are still figuring it out, and I think people like it mechanic-wise too, but I can say that about deck-building set decks, and those don't end up in high prices all the time, right? So I don't know. I don't want to overestimate the Despia because I like the mechanics and mistake things with Player Brain, but I don't also want to underestimate them. People are actually more negative on this set than positive. I did a poll, and it seems like people are going with Yawn of Majesty for now. I think it's a worse Dark Neostorm still. I'm sticking with my guns on that. I think a lot of things will improve over time, and I might be a little hopeful for the insect stuff, but I'm not holding my breath there either. The Starlight choices so far are okay / past expectations as long as Ready Fusion or Synchro Overtake is the 5th. If it's not, we'll reconvene, but Stardust is probably more desirable than Black Rose Dragon overall. We saw that demand from the Collector Rare itself and how crazy that got as a one-of out of Toon Chaos, and I think that the Starlight Rare will do pretty well for itself as well. Now, going through the lower value, the Ultras are already all bottoming out. It feels like pre-sale people don't really take into account Ultras perhaps being more of a value in a set, and that might be where you should be focusing if you do think something has the potential to go up and you think it's undervalued right now and could be up in value later. Maybe focus the Ultra Rares, because remember, those ratios are shorter for Ultras because there's now 14 Ultra Rares in a set, and then you're still only pulling that 4 per box. You're barely pulling over a playset per case on average of each Ultra Rare. Going through other things that have gone up because of Yawn of Majesty, as people are dubbing it, you do have Shooting Star Dragon, and this reminds me a little of Power Tool, except Power Tool, to get its price spike, actually was played in a metagame where Shooting Star is a missing theme / reprint that could use some love. 5D's collection has been up in price for a very long time for all of its cards. It hasn't got a reprint where almost every other legendary collection has. Then you have STBL, Original, Ultra, and Ulti, and then the Collector 10 Secret, which I do like, which is far up in price as Collector 10s in general got targeted when people were buying out all those cards earlier in the year with STEMI checks and that stuff. And then there's the Ghost Rare. Do we need to explain Ghost Rares? Ghost Rares got bought out time and time again. This is Star Strike Blast itself. It only comes first edition, and yeah, it's ridiculous in price at $355 for a quote-unquote near mint, and $200 lowest for even mod play that hurts. Now, Cosmic Blazar is actually super low on quantities out of Duelist Saga for the only holographic version of it, and I've seen people trying to throw up as many, Quasar, Blazar, New Guy, all that stuff, Majestic Shooting Star. People are trying to put as many on field as they can, and Blazar, I could see it ending up in your end boards with Junk Speeder and all that, but the common is super readily accessible if you're just looking for this card. You're paying $a quarter or under if you're adding it into your cart from a top-rated seller. Zolkin was something I started thinking about with all the 5D's dragons, but also because I saw V-Dub playing it on stream, and I was pretty shocked to see certain versions of this end up where it was. The jump is still towards $40, and then you do have the Super Rare, another holographic version of it, floating around $5 and up. The common out of the OTS pack only has 17 listings now, so you might want to get that sooner than later using that TCG player link in the description description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying, whether it's as cheap as this common or as high as a Starlight. I think that these cards are not gonna be there too long. There's only 3 printings in an OTS pack. We've seen things like that go towards $5 pretty quick, and if there is demand for Zolkin / that nostalgia feel, I could see these start to go up again, and this is a card that's been hyped many a time. And finally, Infinite Impermanence is up in prices. It's been played a lot in this metagame. I did not know the gold rare was at 26. I thought it was at 22, and this still reminds me that the Cyber Strike structure deck could be reprinting this, but you also have the ultimate rare on the horizon for OTS packs. The ulti probably won't mass affect the price. It's more that coin flip. Will this end up in the Cyber Strike structure deck? Will it not end up in there? This was the first non-short printed copy of Imperm, but it was still behind a $30 MSRP product. There's only 4, soon to be 5 printings of it. They're all pretty exclusive. I'm actually holding my breath. I'm hopeful it ends up in the Cyber Strike structure, but we'll have to wait and see. You're gambling on that no matter what your opinion. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversation, ranging from things I didn't know to the upcoming set. Tier 0 should have pre-sales up tomorrow, and I believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily is aiming that as well throughout the weekend, if not tomorrow. So we should have more realistic pricing. Whenever I show early pre-sales on TCG Player, it's more interesting notes to see what people start at, how fast it evolves, how other people come into the game, and the price versus that. That's what I love to see. Like Card Brawlers, I know they're a sponsor, but seriously, how they did 45 on Aluber, 45s/37s on Ready Fusion, 21 to 25 on Stardust Synchron, and then Synchro Overtake, I think also 21 to 25. I love looks like that, where they could price higher, probably make those sales still and sell out, but they're not greedy. They don't go for that max value. And where vendors on here barely undercut each other, barely line up. I understand the system. You're having people that are desperate. I need to secure the bag, need to get the cards now. I get why they do it, but that's why I love pairing with sponsors like Card Brawlers, Tier 0 Daily, where they don't just take greed as their underlying motivating factor. They take care of the consumer. They want to grow that brand name. I really like that about those hustlers. Again, thanks for watching, and what do you think of Dawn/Yon of Majesty? Are you hyped still? How are the Starlights versus what you thought they would be? I saw a ton of predictions. I am shocked this ended up as one of them. I really am.